Welcome to video 7 of the Search for a Better Health series. In this video, we're going to be looking at some defense adaptations, and the examples that we're going to be discussing have to do with non-specific immune responses. So when we look at lines of defense, we have non-specific and specific defenses. And then again, ones that we've looked over in stage 5, we have the first line of defense, which are physical barriers, which prevent any kind of entry points into the body. Then we have the second line, and this operates once pathogens have entered the body, but again, still non-specific. And then we have the third line, which we term the immune response, and they're specific, and it's mediated by lymphocytes in the white blood cells. One of our first examples of physical defense barriers in the first line of defense is in fact the skin, and it's a tough outer barrier which ensures that nothing can enter the body unless in fact it is broken, so unless we have any cuts that allow anything to enter. There are a large range of harmless bacteria which live on the skin, and this helps to keep any invading pathogens from multiplying. And sometimes we term these microflora, and we're going to be discussing these in a later video. Another way in which the skin helps to protect and form a barrier is by the sebum, which is secreted from the sebaceous glands on the skin. These produce acids when it is broken down by bacteria, and this inhibits the growth of some bacteria and any fungi from living on the skin. A second example are mucous membranes, and these are membranes that line the digestive, respiratory, reproductive, and urinary tracts with a thick layer of slimy mucus. So the way in which they protect invasion is because of their presence of an antibody, and this presence of the antibody does in fact allow the exchange of substances between this layer, but it does protect against invasion. So this IgA antibody reacts with any pathogens that to prevent them from invading the surface. In some of these mucus, we do have lysozymes. Lysozymes sometimes fit into other secretions, but these are found in saliva and tears and any nasal secretions, and these can break down the cell walls of some bacteria, again, stopping them from entering the body. Our third example is cilia, and these are very small or minute hairs that project from cells lining respiratory surfaces. So that is in fact in the nose, the trachea, and the bronchial tubes. And the way in which they beat helps to move mucus along so that the trapped particles are in fact trapped inside the mucus, and then they're transported to an opening. So whether that's the nose or the pharynx, where we cough them out or in fact swallow them to ensure they are non-effective in becoming a pathogen. The fourth includes chemical secretions, and these provide a chemical barrier which can make an environment acidic or alkaline, and this makes it inhospitable for any potential pathogens. So we've got 3 examples here. So there's acidic conditions in the stomach, and that ensures that any pathogens that enter the stomach while you're eating or drinking are destroyed. The second are alkaline conditions in the intestines, and they, again, if something hasn't been destroyed by the acidic conditions in the stomach, they are then destroyed in the intestines. And then there are acidic conditions found in the urinary and vaginal openings to inhibit any pathogen growth. And other secretions, so like I mentioned before, the lysozymes, which are present in tears, saliva, and then we have urine, which is sterile and slightly acidic, and this prevents the growth of microorganisms by flushing and cleaning the ureters, bladder, and urethra. Here we have a pictorial example of all the different physical defense barriers which make up the first line of defense. So you can refer to this as a quick summary. We then move on to the second line of defense now, which are still non-specific mechanisms, but they are a little bit more, they carry a little bit more authority than the first line of defense does, and they're really important if something has in fact anything in the physical environment has been compromised, which has allowed pathogens to enter the body. So the first is the inflammation response, and this occurs at the site of an infection. So there is a release of histamines and prostaglandins, which can cause blood vessels to dilate, increasing blood flow to the site of infection or injury, and causing the area to become red hot and swollen. So if you've ever had an infection, you'll notice that in fact it does go red. It swells up a little bit, and the skin around it becomes tighter because of that increase in blood flow. An increase in permeability around these blood vessels can allow phagocytes to move from the blood into the tissues, and these phagocytes, uh, in fact, attack the invading pathogens, and we're going to discuss that next. The plasma causes swelling as more phagocytes are moved into the area, and tissue fluid moves into the lymph with any debris and pathogens. Because of that increased blood flow to the site of infection and that heat that's being produced here, there is in fact an increase in temperature. This increase in temperature inhibits the growth rate of pathogens. It can also inactivate some enzymes and toxins made by the pathogens, and we know from previously that if we increase the temperature, we can increase the rate of any biochemical reactions that needs to take place within the body. Here again we have another example, so we can see here that a nail has in fact penetrated the skin. We see that the blood vessel has become a bit permeable, and we can see the phagocytes moving to that site, and these phagocytes involve the bacteria that is causing the infection. We did mention previously the word phagocytes, and phagocytosis is the method by which these phagocytes work. So the phagocytes are specialized blood cells that can change their shape, which allows them to surround a foreign particle, enclosing it within their cell. So once that does in fact enclose that bacterium or foreign material, it is destroyed by any enzymes that are inside the phagocyte. There are two types of phagocytes, or two types of white blood cells, which complete this job. The first are neutrophils, which move to the site of infection and inactivate pathogens. And these neutrophils are used for short and severe infections. The second are macrophages, which are long-lasting phagocytes, and these can in fact travel to infected tissues and can be there for a long time to fight long-lasting infections. On the right here, we have another diagram which provides a flow chart for you as to how these particles are made harmless by the phagocytes. Thirdly, we have the lymph system, and these consist of lymph nodes, lymph vessels, the thymus, the spleen, tonsils, and adenoids. Any foreign particles or dead cells, any debris, can move with tissue fluid into the lymph vessels, and when they get there, these are filtered off and ensure that these foreign particles are destroyed by macrophages. And here we have a picture of where these sites are, so where this filtering takes place. And then on the right, we have a picture of a lymph node, and we can see here that blood vessels bring any, make sure there's blood flow to the area, and we see that lymph fluid goes through the lymph node, and any foreign particles are filtered out and made sure they are destroyed. Then the fourth process is cell death, which can seal off a pathogen. So, cell can be surrounded by a wall of dead cells, which can seal off that pathogen, ensuring that it doesn't spread to other areas and infect those. Sometimes this circle of dead cells can be referred to as a granuloma or a cyst, ensuring that anything inside of it is destroyed. And we see granulomas produced in tuberculosis and leprosy. Thank you for watching video 7. Make sure you're in class to complete the activities, and make sure you tune in for video 8.